Next, we will have public comment on agenda and non-agenda items. Do we have any public comment? No, we do not. Okay, so let's go to something that's a lot of fun for us, and that is to do the oath of office to our two student trustees. So I would like to call first student trustee Robert Alexander. Okay, shall we do it up here?
Yes.
Okay,
That'd be great.
all right.
I, Robert Alexander,
Do solemnly affirm
solemnly affirm
that I will support and defend
I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will
bear
bear true faith
and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and that I take this obligation freely
and I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental
or
reservation,
purpose of evasion,
purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and I will willfully, faithfully,
discharge the duties upon which
and
discharge the duties
discharge the duties as
upon which I am about to enter.
which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And now we have our second trustee. Paul del Rosario. What a beautiful name. So if you will raise your right hand. And repeat after me. I,
I, Paul de Rosario,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation
that I take this obligation
freely
freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will and faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully and discharge
the duties upon which
the duties upon which
I am about to enter.
I am about to enter.
Congratulations and
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes, and we have two of them. So if I could have a motion for the approval of the minutes of May 12th.
So moved?
So moved. Did I get a second? Second. Any discussion? No? Any corrections or anything? All right. So let's take a vote, and I'm looking to my legal counsel. Do I don't have to take.
Are we doing them together or separate?
Do?
You do, it is a roll call vote.
Okay. Is
The
it,
guy last week or last month said I didn't have to take it. No, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. Sorry. So, student trustees. Student trustee Alexander.
Aye.
Student trustee Del Rosario.
Yay.
Okay.
Yay.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Houston.
Aye.
Trustee Vericel.
Aye.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee, and who is that person?
Reyes. Aye.
Aye, thank you. Thank you very much. I was only kidding. I know who you are.
I thought maybe I was asleep.
Reyes. Then I would like a motion to approve the minutes of May 26, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Chair, just as a point of procedure, because our two student trustees are brand new, they weren't here for the prior meeting, so they should abstain from approving minutes, because this is their first meeting as student trustees. But next
Okay.
time, they'll be able to vote, because they were here.
All right, all right. Sorry. I did want to include you. Okay. All right. So,
Correct, because this is the first time they've been sworn in.
okay. So I have a first and a second. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Any discussion? Nope. All right. Then we will, Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Houston.
Aye.
Trustee Vericel.
Aye.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Reyes. Trustee Reyes, aye. Okay. So they are approved. So let's do the presentations at this point. The applause cards, if they could be shown on the screen. It's a long list. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone, for the recommendations and the acknowledgement of good service by our employees. And it's always gratifying to see the number of people being complimented for the fact that they do a good job. Thank you. I would also like to then have posted our employee anniversary recognition. And Chancellor, do you have something to say on that?
Yeah, I'd like to acknowledge and speak about those that had 20 plus years of service. First is Rosemary Chavez. Rosemary's 30 years at SBCCD started in 1992. She not only worked at Valley in numerous positions, but also worked in HR here at the DSO office. She's currently the SBBC EOPS department, works there as a senior student services technician. Thank you, Rosemary, for your 30 years of service. Next is Dr. Terry Strong. A quote from Dr. Strong: "I'm fortunate to have the opportunity to influence the academic lives of students in the district for such a time as this." She said, "That's it." So her statement really captures the essence of who she is, a servant leader who works selflessly to help students succeed. Thank you for the 28 years. Stacey Myers. Chef Myers has been an integral part of building our culinary arts program for over 25 years. Faculty chair for that department also for 25 years, and just far too many awards over the years to count. But one of her biggest accomplishments is 85% of her students, 85% of her students who have completed a program have become employed in the food services industries. Kudos to Chef Stacey. Ben Holland started working at KVCR in 1995, has been a broadcast operator and traffic coordinator as well as program coordinator. Today, he ensures that all of the shows are entertaining and educational, highlighting the colleges and our communities. So thank you, Ben, for your service. Barbara Nichols started her journey here at SBCCD in 1998. First was with the distance education area, then followed by the humanities division. And one of Barbara's favorite areas in which she worked was the child development department, working for Julianne Martin. I know we all remember Julianne as a project analyst. She's now with KVCR, and she states she is thankful for all of the friendships developed along the way. So thank you for your 24 years. So Wang Pham, forgive me if I mispronounced, arrived in the U.S. as a young refugee from Vietnam, separated from his family at that time, but happily has reunited with them many years later. He studied computer science at Valley and earned his bachelor's degree from CSUSB. And while studying at Valley, he worked as an assistant in the library computer lab and was hired as a full-time classified professional upon completion of his degree. 22 years of service. Thank you. Shane Baloney has provided technology support to the Crafton Hills College campus for all of the 21 years that he has worked with the district. He started as a multimedia specialist and is now a technology support specialist too. He continues to provide quality service to everyone that he comes across. So thank you, Shane, for your 21 years. Lastly on our list is Arlene Delgado. Arlene started at Valley as a short-term worker immediately after high school. She's worked in numerous offices throughout Valley College, and she states, each of her supervisors were very knowledgeable in their areas. Each supervisor taught her the importance of teamwork, helping others, and giving back to the community. Thank you, Arlene, for your 21 years of service.
Thank you, Chancellor. We have an addendum to the agenda, and it's a revised diversity, equity, inclusion, and anti-racism presentation. So I would like to ask our Chancellor, our Vice Chancellor in charge of HR, Christina Hannon, to come forward and to present.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to present on the behalf of our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. Due to the timing of today's presentation, some of our committee members were unable to join me, but I would like to, before I begin the presentation, highlight our committee. We were formed last year in September, and we have had some very, very amazing meetings. And so I just want to highlight the people that have been serving for the last year and helping us move the needle forward as we accomplish our DIA initiatives. Ernest Guillen, Ariel Davis, Ray Carlos, Carmen Rodriguez, Mary Valdemar, Paul De Rosario, Rania Hamdi, Erica Paddock, Delmy Spencer, Natalie Lopez, Ruth Gray Raven, Olivia Rosas, Aisha Brown, Anna Borjorquez, Ginger Sutphin, Anthony Blackshear, and some honorable mentions. We have Davina Burns-Peters and Maggie Worsley. And I just wanted to say thank you to the committee for their service, and I look forward to working with them as we go into the next year. So, next slide. So we have we know we have our board goal too of being a diverse, equitable, and inclusive and anti-racist institution. And so we wanted to highlight some of the initiatives and things that have been happening at the district office and also things that have been happening at the campus level. Just because we don't talk about it doesn't mean it's not happening. And so this is some great work that has been happening throughout the district over this last year and even before this last year. And to highlight some of those things, we've been taking a look at our hiring polls and monitoring our hiring polls for the next 2 years and utilizing the Adverse Impact Toolkit to ensure diverse representation and elimination of barriers. We've been enhancing our curriculum in ethnic studies and social justice. We've had some targeted DEIA trainings. Some new trainings will begin in July of this year, including a new hire training that will be revamped by next year. We've examined student outcomes by career and academic pathways to determine potential equity gaps in student outcomes. The campuses have been revising program review process to require departments to more deliberately examine and address observed equity gaps among students served. We've initiated reading programs, specifically the Professional Development Learning Project, allowing faculty to apply a holistic learning framework to the classroom with an emphasis on addressing observed equity gaps in student outcomes. English and math faculty were provided disaggregated data for classes they taught, along with classroom strategies to help remove any identified disproportionate impact. I just want to highlight and pause right here because of the great work that has been happening in these areas. We've been able to recruit and retain some very, very qualified English and math faculty that are helping us move that needle. And so I do want to pause and clap for our campuses for the work that they are doing for our students, especially in assisting and hiring our faculty. We've been working to improve the success of the college's disproportionately impacted groups by adding student voices to the Human Resources DEIA Committee, including students in the faculty hiring process, creating the Asian and Pacific Islander vested group, and the creation of the bias response team. The page continues with more items that we've been doing, but I'm not going to read all of those things. I just wanted to highlight that a team recently went to NCORE, which is the National Conference on Race and Ethnicity in Higher Education last week, and it was held in Portland. And that conference is normally widely attended by close to 5,000 people representing institutions from all over North America. San Bernardino Community College District was able to send a team, and we were able to participate in many different workshops and bring those ideas back to this district so that way we can continue working on our initiatives. And so next we have our applicant data analysis. So over the last year, if you look at the board, we've had 2,337 total applications. Including in that, we have our gender breakdown and our ethnicity breakdown, and then you can see that out of that number, we had a total of 1,651 qualified applicants. We conducted 1,288 interviews, and we hired 78 people. As you can see in the chart, the breakdown included 46 female, 32 men, 4 Asian female, 4 Asian men, 9 Black or African American females, and 4 African American Black men, 3 declined to state, 22 Hispanic or Latino females, 14 men, and then 8 female white and 10 men white. And so our district continues to make great progress in closing the equity gaps. Just some data and takeaways to note that applicants were almost evenly split between males and females, and the new hires were mostly female hires. Hispanics were the majority of the applicants and new hires in this year span, and the majority of new hires were from underrepresented groups. So this is just proof that we are continuing to close that equity gap and move the needle. In the next slide, we show our workforce and equity analysis. Some summary notes to keep in mind is that since 2018, the SBCCD workforce has grown by 30%, 171 employees. 56% of SBCCD employees work for San Bernardino Valley College, and the majority, 60% of SBCCD employees are female, which is a 5% increase since 2020. Females are the majority in all job classifications except for administrators, and note that this is a 7% increase since 2020. In 2021 and 2022, females made up 59% of SBCCD new hires. The majority of SBCCD employees across the district are Caucasian, and we have Hispanic Latinx are second with 36%, African American are third with 14%, Asian Pacific Islander are fourth with 10%. In 2021 and 2022, 77% of SBCCD new hires were from underrepresented groups. The SBCCD workforce is 35% faculty, 51% classified, 14% administration, and 2% of SBCCD employees self-report as being a person with a disability. On our last slide, or next to last slide, we did send out a survey, district-wide survey, over the last couple of months where we were asking questions specific to our Black and Indigenous people of color experiences in SBCCD. We did want to highlight one of the questions that was asked, which was, do you believe SBCCD has a strong commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion? This is representative of 185 responses. As you can see, there was definitely yes and probably yes had the overwhelming majority. And while we are proud of the work that we have done to diversify our hiring pools, we are cognizant of the lived experiences of our communities. Numbers do not always paint the full picture. The data on this slide was pulled from our analysis survey. To be clear, this is a positive indication that we are moving in the right direction. However, this survey also presents many opportunities for growth that we will continue to address.
I'm sorry.
What is the universe for the, from which?
He needs to put his mic on.
What is the total universe? I mean, not by numbers, but what is it? Excuse me, I'm sorry, thank you. What is the breakdown of the, is it like all students, or is it, was this from only a particular group?
This
All
was an employee
employees,
survey,
okay.
correct. This was
So
all,
this is all employees.
all employees. We encouraged our Black and Indigenous people of color to respond, but this survey did go to all employees.
Okay, in all employees, regardless of whether they're
correct.
classified, whatever.
Correct. Okay. Next slide, please. So these were some of the comments that did come out of the survey. Unlike other annual professional development programs that serve as refresher course, effective diversity and inclusion initiatives are continuous and evolve over time. Another response, sometimes meetings don't feel like action. The systems to compete and academic goals still seem unintuitive and difficult. And then another response is it's hard to answer on behalf of the district because I have experienced both inclusion and exclusion. The district is made up of people. The district itself is not an entity. The last quote on this slide elevates an important truth. The district is made up of people. We are only as strong as our people feel valued. On the next slide, we are a few ways we have implemented and plan to empower our community. So we did hire our Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and that was completed in September of 2021. We created the HRDIA Advisory Committee, and we adopted a consensus model for moving the committee work forward. The BIPOC analysis survey was completed this past April. We're utilizing the Biddle Adverse Impact Tool to analyze any negative impact or adverse impact in our hiring practices. We've revised and we are continue our EEO training. Our bias response team is currently being developed, and we plan to roll that out this summer. We're also looking into a DEIA Academy this fall. We are updating and continuously updating our APs and BPs for all classifications, and we will continue to examine our APs, BPs, policies, procedures to determine if any adverse impact to the differently abled population. That concludes my presentation. Are there any questions?
Questions? Trustee Long.
Trying to remember my microphone this time. I'm very, very pleased to see that we're making the progress that we are making despite the fact that we still have ways to go. It is very important that we keep track of this kind of information, and I know that there are some people who object to it, but the reality is that without keeping track of it, we're not able to document the fact that for too long, people who look like me, older white guys, have disproportionately been taking the particularly higher positions throughout our society, and it's very good to see us making a distinct effort to counter that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Trustee Williams. Followed by Reyes.
Yeah, first, I just wanted to commend the team on all of the work that's been done. I'm on the DEIA trustee committee with the California Community College League, and there are a lot of districts that are not as far along as we are in this work, and we've done a lot. It's a lot, and so I think that should really be acknowledged. And then I think, will this go in our accreditation?
Yes.
Yes.
And so I'd like to make sure that my role on that committee is documented in the board's actions of what the board is doing. And the committee is recruiting and looking for other trustees to be engaged. And I know we're involved in the equity work. And so, it's an opportunity to just kind of learn more about the space and things that trustees can do. But there are a lot of districts that have not moved at all. And so we should really be proud of the work. At some point in time on thinking about our conversation earlier today, I think these are like really good examples of if equity is an area that the board wants to monitor for the matrix, like the thing that we monitor. Like, I think this is like good examples of, how to create an indicator, because, you got 3 areas that stood out to me where we talked about examining student outcomes by career and academic pathways and determining what the potential equity gaps in student outcomes. In the future, I would love to find out, what did we learn? Are there some equity gaps or in the outcomes? And then what do we do as trustees to set policy and allocate resources to address it? And then you talked about initiating a reading professional development and learning project that allows the faculty to apply holistic learning framework to classrooms with emphasis on addressing observed equity gaps in student outcomes. I would be interested in, again, what do we do in terms of resources and policies to address that? And then the last one is really looking at the data that was provided to faculty around students that might be disproportionately impacted. Again, what do the trustees do in terms of policy and resources? And so I think this is great information, and really want to make sure that we're involved in, because I always talk about the report that Dr. Smith used to give us, and we used to talk about throughputs, and then you see a 0.5% movement. And so, so I just wanted to add that to the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Reyes.
Yeah. I also want to compliment the work that has been done. And I'm looking at this very, very carefully, because not only does it impact our district, the success that we have here will also go from the state and also at the national level. Because I think when you talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, and so forth, I'm asking the questions, even within the White House, what does that really mean? Because to me, what that means is that we also have to make sure that we get proper funding. And we're not. We're a Hispanic survey institution, and right now we're in a battle, and I'm going to continue to do that, because if we don't get those resources, then we're not as effective as we could. So Christina, I know you've taken the lead, and I want to compliment you. Now, all you need to do is look at the composition of when I first started working here in 1976, composition was totally different. The leadership was totally different, and now I have to compliment it. If you look at from the chancellor to the vice chancellors, that's what you really call true diversity. Okay, and we have to do that. Now, my say on that is, what that means is that we have to reflect. We have to reflect, all of us who keep this in mind, the composition of our community and our student population. And if it doesn't, it's our responsibility to do that. And like I said, we're going to have conversation at the highest level with the president and the vice president when they're giving out grants for other things, the composition and the awards that we're giving for grants, that goes a long ways. So that I compliment you very much. Now, I don't know if the faculty and the staff you're giving a good report, but to me, I'm looking at the overall, the highest level. And you guys are responsible to make sure that the faculty that represents that and the classified, because we all need to work as a team. So again, I think we've never been in a very better place in terms of representation at the highest level. At the highest level, just look at the faces of our leaders. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Houston.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this. This is fantastic. I have a question on since 2018, the workforce has grown by 30%, 171 employees. Those are new employees, or is that the churn?
It's new employees.
New. So we've expanded the workforce since 2018.
Yes.
Okay. And we have declining enrollment. We've expanded by 30. I just wanted to ask that question related to our budget committee. That was just that just stuck out to me. The other question, and I think it's related to what Trustee Reyes had said, was, do we have a breakdown of the diversity of our faculty in front of students? It's it's so important that our students see themselves in the classroom, and sometimes if we don't drill down to that point, we might hit the big targets, but the target that impacts students and enrollment and them seeing themselves in the classroom may be still be a little bit off. So I was just curious. We may not have it right now, but
Yeah, we do have the data. We didn't include it in this report, but we can give that to you for your review. I would like to thank Dr. Crew and his team for helping us provide the data. Did you want to speak to the demographics between the employees and the students?
Faculty.
Sorry, faculty and students.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. So we can provide it to you.
that would be great. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Can I just add one thing?
Trustee Williams.
Yeah, I want professional development, because just because you look like me, it doesn't mean that you can teach me. And so, making sure that people have culturally relevant experiences and abilities to make the environment relevant is really important too. Because again, I've been in classes with people that look like me that was horrible and they can't. So I want to make sure that we're having that as part of the report outs, is like, how are we investing in professional development? And then in our hiring committee selection, and making sure that those job descriptions are giving people credit for their lived experiences where we can, within the law. And so, because, that is important as much as the ethnicity of the people that we're hiring. We got to have people who can actually teach and connect with people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
I can tell you that when I was a student at San Bernardino Valley College, the number of females, whether they were faculty or counseling, counseling, I only had 2 people, come to think of it. And we had maybe 3 female teachers, professors, and they were in the business. There was one that was teaching California history, and I think the other one was in foreign languages, and that was it. That was it. So we did not see ourselves in the sense of females at the level at a community college. And so it was, and that has definitely changed when you see the demographics now. So I remember those 3 and at one time we had actually a dean of men and a dean of females. Yes. Wow. We don't have that title anymore, thank goodness. But it's just, I'm sorry for the historical note. Sorry. Yes.
Just one quick question. So our lived experiences are really important, and this was really, really helpful, and I totally commend the team for putting this together. I'm wondering if we collect information from other people groups that are prominent on our campuses. There are religious groups, LGBTQ plus groups, things like that, that I'd love to know how that plays out as well, so that we can talk about inclusivity across multiple demographic factors.
Yeah.
So yeah, that has been a topic at our DEIA committee about not just focusing on gender, race, and age, but going beyond. And so we have, and that was why we want to look at, we've analyzed our policies and procedures to see if there is an impact, a negative impact to any underrepresented groups. But one of the things that we also want to be mindful of is having policies and procedures that are not mindful of differently abled students and employees. And so being mindful that diversity, equity, and inclusion is not just race, it's not just gender. There's all different sections of intersectionality that we are focusing on, and we will continue to look at other groups and bring that data back to you.
Great, thank you so much.
I did want to ask, when you're talking about race, because the number of those students who identify themselves as mixed race is growing significantly. So I didn't see that category in your report. Is it, it's because they self-report that way?
Can you repeat that? I missed the first half of the question.
For mixed race,
Oh, you said it didn't change.
she doesn't see mixed race reflected.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I dropped that out. It's been relatively stable around 4%.
Okay. So we need to add, right? Okay.
And one thing to highlight this conversation was we also had we were not reflecting, nor did we have any idea of any Native American faculty or students, and so that was something new that we did add to the survey. Was when employees were asked to identify, we were able to see if anyone identified as Native American. So we are looking beyond just what the categories that the state provides, but looking beyond and representing our community.
Right. And I have a question for Trustee Williams. On the state level, are they diversifying the categories?
In what way?
In the sense of it's, not just the traditional racial categories.
Are you talking about like on our forums or just in the conversations? Yeah,
like
I mean
mixed
it's talked
race,
about.
yeah.
We've in the committee and in the BOG it's talked about LGBTQ, so it's talked about. Now I don't know the impacts that it's having on districts in terms of like the data that gets collected through forums and surveys, but it's definitely part of the conversations.
Okay.
Yeah, as of right now, the application only collects race, ethnicity, gender, age, but other underrepresented areas are not. So it has to be self-reported. And so working with the BOG, hopefully that's something that we can do to collect that information instead of people having to self-report later once they're in the workforce.
All right.
I have a
Thank you.
response to that as well. I think we want to be very careful not to, we want to do the best job we can, and we have a good person who's going to do that. But I think we also need to follow the leadership of, like, for example, the Department of Education in Washington, D.C. Right now, if we were considered like, what's a historically black college? What's a Hispanic serving institution? They don't break it down that much. We want to get to that point, but otherwise we could hurt ourselves in saying, because some of the students are saying, well, I don't want to identify myself. And some grants are given based on not only the qualifications, but also the percentage. So we have to, I would appreciate, Christina, if you can follow up also, not only what we're saying as board members or the Board of Governors, but also what the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., that's what they're saying, because we could be shooting ourselves in the foot in a sense of not being in detail, because we may not be ready for that at that time, but we will. Like right now, they're asking, in order to be a Hispanic serving institution, 25% or more. That's it, okay? They don't break it down any further. And so we don't want to create so much work for you, but eventually those are the good questions that we can ask. But right now, that's all they want.
You're saying don't dilute it.
Don't dilute it so much where it takes us longer. Like Christina would say, well, you know what? Let me go back and let me do this. Not that that's not important, but I think it's really, really critical for us to be considered. And again, I emphasize HSIs because we're going for a possibly, this thing passes, it's a $2 billion for all Hispanic serving institutions, and we're one of them. So if we begin to dilute things, it's going to take us longer. It's going to take your office a lot longer to report, and by that time they're gone. They already submitted the proposal. So be cognizant of that, but at the same time, let's do a good job. And I know you're doing a good job. You've done a good job since I've been here. Things are moving along very well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Dr. Gonzalez.
I want to echo the compliments from everyone up here. This is a fantastic start. This is an educational opportunity for me because I love acronyms as much as everybody else, but I don't have any clue what BIPOC means.
BIPOC is Black and Indigenous People of Color.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Sorry, Trustee, I just wanted to make a correction. That actually was
Yes,
churn.
Mike.
We didn't pick up a brand new 171.
Because I was doing I'm sorry, I
Yes.
just kept doing the math. I couldn't not
Yes.
continue to do the math because I was like, that means we only have 570 total
No.
staff, and it's like that doesn't sound right either. Okay, so
Right.
it was the churn.
It was a churn.
Thank you.
So we're at
I was
750 total.
Sure that was wrong. Okay, thank you so much. That makes my heart happy.
Thank you for that, Dr. Kerr.
Any other questions? No more questions? Okay. Thank you.
All right,
very
thank you so much.
Wonderful report. We're at the action agenda, and the very first one is board policies that are come up for final approval. I need a motion to approval.
So moved.
I have a
Second.
motion. I have a second?
You had a second?
Yes. Okay. Any question, any discussion? None? Okay, so roll call? Roll call vote. Okay, roll call vote. Okay. Student trustee,
Aye.
Aye.
okay. And so I have to do it by roll call, right? Yes, ma'am. We didn't do this last time. I know. Okay. Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Longville.
Aye.
Trustee Houston.
Aye.
Trustee Vericel.
Aye.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Reyes.
Aye.
Trustee Harrison, aye. So it's moved. The next item is the order of election and the specification of the election order.
Move approval.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. So is there any discussion? Questions? None? Okay. So, student trustees,
Aye.
Aye.
okay. Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Longville.
Aye.
Trustee Houston.
Aye.
Trustee Vericel. Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Reyes.
Aye.
Trustee Harrison, aye. Okay. And then we have the San Bernardino Community College fiscal year 2022-23 tentative budget. I need a motion and a second for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion, questions? None? Okay. Student trustees,
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee Longville,
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Houston,
Aye.
Trustee Vericel,
Aye.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Reyes. Trustee Harrison, aye. So the action item is moved forward. Next is the consent agenda, and at this time, it's expected to be routine and non-controversial. It will be acted upon by the board at one time without discussion. Any member of the board or or citizen may request that an item be removed for this section for discussion. And I understand at this point, the Chancellor has,
Thank you. I'd like to pull and table item 7D1, the 24-28 5-year construction plan, and to bring this back next month, please.
Okay. So that has been removed off of the consent agenda. We don't need to vote on that, do we?
It'll be taken up separately after the consent agenda, and then you can move to table it at that point.
Okay,
So you'll just do the consent agenda now, then that one item that the chancellor pulled, and then we can vote to table that at that time.
okay. So, trustee Houston.
I'd like to also pull item C2, please.
C2. Any other? Okay,
Madam Chair,
yes.
I'd like to move approval of the consent calendar with the exception of items C2 and D.
71,
That's my motion. Thank you.
okay. So let's take a motion for the consent agenda with those two exceptions, okay? So do I have a motion?
I'll second that. We have a motion.
Okay. Did I have a second? Okay, all right. So all student trustees,
Aye.
Aye.
okay. Trustee Longville,
Aye.
trustee Gonzalez,
Aye.
trustee Houston,
Aye.
trustee Vericel, trustee Williams, trustee Reyes,
Aye.
trustee Harrison, aye. And let's go back and pick up, see, I circled it. It's C2, contracts at or above 99.
I just need to abstain, so. I just need to abstain from this one, so someone
Okay.
else will need to make the motion.
I move approval of the item C1
Second.
Okay.
or C2, whatever. C2, yeah.
Did I get a?
Second on
Second.
C2.
Okay, all right. Student trustees,
Aye.
Aye.
okay. Trustee Longville,
Aye.
trustee Gonzalez,
Aye.
trustee Houston,
Abstain.
okay. Trustee Vericel, trustee Williams,
Aye.
trustee Reyes,
Aye.
trustee Harrison, aye. And then we have 7D1, and at this time, I'd like a motion to table, as I understand from my legal counsel.
So moved.
Second.
All right. There's no discussion on a motion to table, as I understand it. Correct. All right. So, student trustees, your vote. There's no discussion.
Oh, next month. Never.
Aye.
Trustee Longville,
Aye.
trustee Gonzalez,
Aye.
trustee Houston,
Aye.
trustee Vericel, trustee Williams,
Aye.
trustee Reyes, and trustee Harrison, aye. So the consent agenda, with those exceptions, are now, have been approved. At this point, we have reports. We have board committee reports. As I understand it, we had one standing committee that met today, and that was the Finance Committee, so I'm assuming there is a report.
Yes, and so I just want to appreciate everyone in attendance. It was a very good dialogue today. We just had a discussion about developing some simple enrollment measures and matrix that the trustees can use to really contextualize 4 to 5 items or executive level trends to help determine how some of the investments or resources are impacting students in our communities. The staff has been tasked with outlining what those measures were and developing, or what those measures will be, and developing some similar reports, similar to the revenue and expenditures report. We also talked about how we might benefit from generating local and unrestricted revenue streams, and we'll look at determining which ones would be feasible for the district to pursue. This will be an ongoing conversation. There's no real action on that item. It's just a dialogue, and we'll continue to explore that. And then we also talked about the extremely restrictive nature of state funding in community colleges and whether or not we can have an effect on policy change. So, Trustee Reyes, we want to talk about just, what are our options to give the district some more flexibility. The staff was also tasked with continuing to explore these issues and developing a report that will come back to the committee, and then we'll recommend what should come back to the full board for ongoing monitoring and reporting. And that's all that I have.
All right. Do we have a report from the Legislative Committee?
Yes. Even though we didn't meet, we're always working, even when we're not supposed to. But I had an opportunity to be invited to this great leadership conference that is taking place as we speak, which is the Leaders in Energy. And I know that we're one of the leaders in this area. And I know that Trustee Williams has really been very good in terms of keeping us informed in terms of opportunities when it comes to grants. And they're met today. I was very, very fortunate to invite our new student trustee, Robert Alexander. And one of the things that I want to do is invite our students when we have a chance to go to conferences, especially if they're local, and especially if they don't charge us any money and feed us really well. They talked about how we're going to be able to apply for additional grants. There were a lot of opportunities, there still are, and so we're partnering with other entities, including not only higher education, but the business community. So I was very, very pleased that our student board of trustee was there, and he got to see that it's not only about coming and doing well in his classroom, but also to participate with the networking that it's important for them. I want him to apply for, and I didn't invite the other board member, trustee, because I was invited at the last minute. I wasn't even supposed to be there, but as soon as I called Stacey and Heather gave me some names. And so thanks for coming. Rosario, I will be very happy to invite you when it comes to these things. So this is what's going to make you successful, even at not only from an academic, but also from understanding opportunities for your students. Because you work hard, you pay your dues, you need to participate in these things. That concludes my report, Madam.
Thank you. And do we have a report from the Board of Governors?
No report. I didn't attend the last meeting.
Okay. All right, thank you. We have a correction in our consent agenda. We have an addendum item 16.B, a ratification of MOUs between the San Bernardino Community College District and the POA. And we did not, I think we need to go back. So I need to ask my legal counsel. We didn't pull it, and it was an addendum item. So
Has the board taken any action on it yet?
No, sir.
you have to get to the mic. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Has the board taken any action yet on the item?
Not on that item, they have not.
Okay, well, you can take it up now.
Okay. All right, thank you. So addendum item 16B, ratification of MOUs between the San Bernardino Community College District and the POA. That I'm calling for a motion and a second before discussion.
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay. So is there any discussion? None? Okay. So I'm asking the student trustees for their advisory vote.
Aye.
That was part of the addendums.
Did I get one? I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. And so let me take a roll call vote. Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Longville.
Aye.
Trustee Houston.
Aye.
Trustee Veracel.
Aye.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Reyes.
Aye.
And Trustee Harrison, aye. So we got I think, did we have any other exceptions that we missed? Okay, all right, thank you. So the next report is the Chancellor's report.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So I want to begin my report by giving a shout out to all of our graduates. Actually, hundreds of students walked across the graduation stage at both Crafton Hills College and Valley College on May 25th. You know, commencement is one of my favorite days of the year, and this year it was extra special because we got to host it in person and inviting back the previous two classes. And so if you weren't able to attend commencement or graduation ceremonies, here's a quick video to give you a glimpse of what the day was like. While this is finishing up, I'll share some numbers with you. 2,697. That's how many Crafton and Valley College students graduated in the class of 2022. And 3,728. That's how many degrees and certificates were awarded collectively at both institutions. So kudos to the presidents and their teams for putting together such a fantastic day and experience for their students. And also kudos to the faculty and classified professionals who supported their students every day that they were on campus. So thank you all. Now, as a community college, our mission is also about building bridges in our community and welcoming people to our campuses and to our front doors. And with that being said, on the May 31st, we had the honor of hosting California Attorney General Bob Bonta in our KVCR studios. Attorney General Bonta visited us and held an educational forum, not only with our students from both our institutions, but also Cal State San Bernardino students and the UCR School of Public Policy. And I'll have to tell you, our local students were amazing, really stellar, asking questions about healthcare, public safety, and the importance of civic engagement. So it was absolutely our honor to host Attorney General Bonta, and it's one of the ways our college and district are living up to the goals that we set about being a regional leader and partner. And speaking of KVCR, we also had the honor of hosting Congressman Pete Aguilar on the 27th, again inside the KVCR studio. And as many of you know, Congressman Aguilar led the charge in Washington to secure $1 million in a community project funding for KVCR. So that funding is critical to KVCR's long-term success, including keeping NPR and PBS on the air and turning KVCR studios into a training lab for our students to prepare them for the areas in journalism and media. So I want to thank Congressman Aguilar for being our partner, for being a big supporter of our students, and a champion of KVCR. And also want to thank our trustees who were able to attend these events and being in support of KVCR and our institution. So thank you all for that. And the district's executive team has been and will be very busy coming up. Angel Rodriguez has been named by UCR as one of their 40 under 40 outstanding alumni. Congratulations, Angel. Christina Hannon has been selected to serve on a PR team this summer to share her expertise and knowledge in her area. Congratulations. Jose Torres will be presenting at Haku with Arizona State University on finance and institutional advancement.
Yay.
President Haran will be hosting and participating in a multi-chamber mixer next week, which will be, the folks that will be there will be the business leaders, nonprofit leaders, and others within the region. It's one of the first of its kind, so thank you, Dr. Haran, for that. Dr. Scott Thayer has been invited again by the California Community College Institutional Effectiveness Group to be a strategic enrollment management coach. Congratulations. And I've been invited by the Women's Caucus of the California Community College League to present at an upcoming conference. And I have been nominated and elected as the next president of the Arrowhead United Way.
Okay.
And Noemi Ornales, only 2 months with us, is already building community relationships throughout the region and has become a key lead on a major project with GIA. So congratulations. And that is my report. Thank you.
Can I make a comment on that, Madam Chair?
All right.
Because I was able to attend the conversation we have with the Attorney General. And this is what we need to understand how politics works. What I like to do is that he did a real good job, but I want people to know that they can come to the Inland Empire, and if they want to do following the protocol, and Daniel, Angel, and Christina, and our Chancellor can keep us posted. But I want them to feel real comfortable, because see, we're asking to continue to support KVCR in terms of finance. I want the Attorney General, I want the Governor to say, I'm going to go to San Bernardino. I like to be interviewed by KVCR, because that turns into a public, to inform the public. And when my wife was asked to get monies for KVCR, she was almost turned down because of the fact saying, well, it's an educational institution. You guys have enough money. You don't really, the community. No. We also do some community events. We also invite people. That switched them around. And I wanted to compliment our Chancellor and Angel for putting this together, because now the Attorney General left here saying, oh, I want to come back here at the appropriate time, because timing is everything. I didn't realize that you can't invite a political person to talk about things because it may be viewed as supporting or endorsing
That's
them.
right.
I would have never thought of that. So Angel, thank you for telling me. But we always take advantage. You will also let Congressman Pete Aguilar. I want them to feel comfortable so that when it's time for us to ask for funding or request for something, I'm going to be there. I will ask in a very professional way, in a very diplomatic way, in a procedural way. So I want to thank our team for doing that, because that's what brings in the $4 million, the $1 million. Don't think that they're going to give us the money. They know that they can use us for the benefit of our community, to inform the community. So it's a big win-win for everybody. So I wanted to compliment the team for putting this together and giving us, because you only had a short period of time, and you did it. So I compliment you. That's what is so important. See, it's not just about teaching the students. We all want to teach the students. We all want to do that. But if we don't work with our elected officials that can bring in the resources, that can make it easier for our faculty and for our staff, then we miss a golden opportunity. So I thank the team for doing that.
Thank you, Trustee Reyes. And I think every time that we get somebody to tour our campuses, whether it's KVCR or any of our other programs, we have excellent programs, and I want to thank the team that keeps all of that before the public, because we have to make sure that everybody understands what we do. I know that when I was asked about the educational programs and KVCR, not only do we provide degrees and certificates and all of the wonderful support programs, but we also do a public service. And we have to look at KVCR as being in public service. Yes, it's educational, but it is a public service that no other community college has. And so I'm glad that we are providing tours for people who are interested, whether they're elected or not, doesn't make any difference. Although I realize it's important for them to know who we are when the time comes when they provide budget allocations. But we have to make that, and it's a constant thing. And I don't envy you your job, Angel, because it's a constant thing of having to do it, have the public be aware. Everybody, whether they're elected or not, everybody has to know what a great district we have and what great schools we have and what great programs we have. So thank you. Trustee Longville.
Yes, I just wanted to note that Attorney General Bonta's visit was a particularly beneficial one in that, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Trustee Reyes, but is not the Attorney General's wife a member of the Assembly? And
again, this is where we need to capitalize.
Yeah.
And you continue to say these things, John, and we appreciate that because you were an elected official at that highest level. And we need to capitalize on these things. And again, in a very diplomatic way without really being too upfront about things. But it could be done. So yeah, she replaced him. So his heart is in the right place.
Thank you. The next week's report is the San Bernardino Valley College Academic Senate. Do we have a report? I do not see a written one.
I
Okay.
did not see them here with us today.
We don't have a report, okay. The San Bernardino Valley College Classified Senate. We don't have a report, okay. It's summer. Everybody's gone on vacation. I hope everybody's in Hawaii or some exotic place having a great time.
we're watching a hearing.
San Bernardino Valley College Associated Students.
Madam Chair, if I could please give the report. Yes, we provided $5,000 in funding for the commencement breakfast, so that for the current class of class of 22, for the class of 2021, the class of 2020 can all enjoy the traditional commencement breakfast that the previous two classes didn't get to participate in. We also approved 2 new clubs. The Valley College Nursing Students Association. We provided them with $1,200 in funding so that they could purchase apparel that they could use for fundraising, which they were successfully able to do. We also approved another club called the Networking Club, which is the goal is to basically network all the students on campus so they can use it for career purposes. We also approved $499 funding for food services, for food to be served at the Workability Job Employment Fair that was held on May 11th. And then we also approved $1,000 in sashes for graduating student government members, particularly Sophia Zamora, Vice President of Student Finance, Anita Valdivia, our prior Vice President of Student Senate, Ariana Martinez, our Executive Vice President, and that's 1, 2, 3. I think that was 3 of them. And then we also had a successful election, and we elected 3 new members to our Senate: Sean Vobecki, Dylan Tucker, and Alexis Alcatar, as well as a new student government president, Nelva Ruiz Martinez. And we have also returning member Allison McInerney to our Student Senate. And we have Byron Stafford, who was a senator. He's now our new associate vice president of Student Senate. And I just wanted to say thank you to our Sophia Zamora and Augusta Cheek for their services as vice president of Student Finance and vice president of Program Board, who both graduated this year. That's our report.
Thank you. Crafton Hills Academic Senate sent a written report, which all of you should have received. Very nice report. Thank you. Crafton Hills Classified Senate. None. Okay. Crafton Hills Associated Students. Nope. Okay. CSCA.
Good evening. I apologize for not being here last month. I had a little bit of a COVID scare. I appreciate your grace. So my name is Cassandra Thomas. If you haven't met me yet, I am the CSCA president. This is my second year, and we will be doing voting in December. For the last few months, we've come at you pretty strong. We wanted to let you know how important it was to us that the funding that came from the state be given to the staff who work this district and are suffering. And I pled for a long period of time, 6 months without a meaningful offer. And you guys finally, you listened. And I just want to, it's not exactly what we wanted, but that's how negotiations go, right? It's a give and take. So what we did get, and something that you guys approved this evening, is $4,000 for every classified person. That means that the people that I talked about that make the least of us, the food service worker who works part-time, just got $4,000. And they are going to look at that and go, oh my God, I can pay my bills. I can do the things that I need to do to get through this inflation. I just went and got gas, and it was $100, and I drive a Toyota Camry, and I went to Costco. It's rough out there, and you guys listened to that immediate need and gave it to us. And we pushed back and forth, and we wanted something bigger, and you guys listened. So I just want to say how much I appreciate that. And that our contract is almost complete now. So we're 2 years into the contract now, and it's finally complete. We are going to be signing off on it, most likely at our next negotiations meeting. We still have some cleaning up that needs to be done, appendices, things like that. Then it goes to the 610 process to make sure that we have a good agreement, that it's legal. Then it comes back for ratification, we vote on it. And then once it's voted upon and approved, then it becomes our new contract. We will then be distributing copies to staff to have a connection with them. One thing that's been missing this COVID crisis is our connection to one another. And I felt it the most when we finally had an in-person meeting. We had a forum, and we had people in the room, and it was exciting because we hadn't seen each other in 2 years. And I need to go and talk to my staff, to my unit, the people that I represent, and introduce the contract to them, and then answer any questions that they may have. Some of the complaints feedback that we've gotten is that there needs to be more communication and one-on-one time with our staff, so that we will be doing some of that when our contract is finally printed and we're ready to distribute. Recently, negotiations team, Christina, has had to take a step back. I'm sure you guys are all aware. We've lost a couple of people in HR. We have a good relationship, and I appreciate that. And the situation was explained to me, and I understand that we are going to have a temporary negotiator. William, will be representing the district temporarily. And I'm happy that we have someone we can hand off negotiations to who knows the contract. And that's important, so we don't have to spend some time training someone for a temporary position. My hope is that the wonderful relationship that we have continues through this transition, and that when new people are hired, then we start that new relationship too. And I'm looking forward to that. Negotiations isn't going to be as crazy as it's been. We've been negotiating a classification study, then an entire contract, and I think we all need a break. And so I don't think it's going to be as difficult in the next few months. When I stood up here and asked you guys to give us the relief that we deserve, we promised you that we would do everything that we could to get the students back in the seats. And I want to reiterate our commitment as classified staff to get our students here and get them through the process and help them get their education and help this district bring back our students to our campus. And so we're looking forward to doing that. So I wanted to thank the district for listening to us when it came to KVCR. A few while ago, we came to the district and asked you to please find a way so that our staff don't get let go in this transition. How can we have our staff and have the program that we want? And you guys are making it happen. And I want to give you kudos for that. And I heard that tonight, and it makes me incredibly happy that you guys did that. And I want to give you the credit that it does due for that work. Thank you. We didn't have a classified Senate people here tonight, so I will report that the two classified Senates have got together this year and planned a classified Senate classified week together, which is awesome. We talk about, coming together on things and finding things that we can do together to reduce, siloing, which is what I've been hearing since I first got into leadership. And to see that coming together, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And I think it does a lot for our classified to come together as well. Unfortunately, I do have some bad news. I have been the leader of this union for a year and a half. I cannot remember the last time we filed a grievance. We've typically do everything that we can to work with the district before we move forward on saying formally that you have violated our contract. I have found working with Christina to be very fruitful. I'll go to her and I'll have, an issue that needs to be resolved. We talk about it. We put it in collaborations. We get it done. I do not get the same response from management. Not all. Please know that I don't mean all managers. There are amazing managers out there. But we are filing a grievance. We have filed a grievance. The grievance has been denied. And it has to do with the rights of our union. So it's incredibly disappointing to stand up here with all the things that I wanted to say to you, and then to hear that it's okay that we violate our contract. And I would hope that when you're presented with these issues, that you will consider, in this particular case, this is the release of classified staff to attend CSEA conference. This is something that's in our contract. This is something that I just spoke to my labor rep, and he said that would be an unfair labor practice, and it's pretty solid. I don't want that to happen.
I'm sorry, and I just want to clarify, point of clarification. Bill, do we continue this conversation? It sounds like we're about to step into personnel issues. Should we move on to Ms. Thomas's next topic? I just want clarification so that CSEA stays on the right side and we stay on the right side of what the law is. So sorry to interrupt you. I just didn't want us to
I haven't heard anything cross that line yet.
Okay.
We're talking about generic contract issues. I think it's appropriate.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I try to keep it as generic as possible so that you're aware of what's going on and then you can go and ask the questions that you need to know. But I want you to know what's happening. We have filed 3 grievances, and it gives me absolutely no pleasure to do so. This is not something that I ever wanted to do. I enjoy having a wonderful, productive relationship, and I really want that to stay that way. And I just hope that we can have a conversation about this and not take it any further. I will keep it at that. And thank you.
Thank you. The next report, CTA. We don't have a report, okay. We do not have a report from the Police Officers Association. San Bernardino Valley College President.
Good afternoon. As we conclude this academic year, I won't repeat some of the things we saw the Chancellor mentioned, our graduates, the success of our students. We got to celebrate in person for the first time in 3 years. And I think just seeing the look on the face of our students as they cross the stage, their families in the stands who hung in there, right? Just to hear that name called, I think really enforces why we do this work. Of the past 3 years, you heard those numbers, exponentially. They keep getting bigger. And this year for us, 2022, we had the most students and the most students who received degrees and certificates in the last 3 years. So they were busy during COVID. So we're definitely excited to celebrate their successes. We had 22 veterans who graduated, who we acknowledged during the ceremony, and 16 of the middle college students who are the high school graduates who also received their AA. So that's exciting to see them meeting their goals, as we've been doing this. Sometimes that can get lost, as we do the work, but we see those outcomes. A couple things that we are having on our campus. So there will be a Juneteenth event at Valley College on June 18th, which is Saturday from 12 to 6. We will participate, but it's not an event we're hosting, but we're participating. It's on our campus, and we're excited because we get a chance to share all the great things that we're doing at Valley College and expose the groups that show up to the programs that we have. There's also an event July 2nd. The Symphony, San Bernardino Symphony, will be hosting a concert on our campus, and we are looking to add a Summerfest component, which will be another opportunity for us to share our programs and services to the community as they'll be on our campus. So 2 events coming up this summer that we will definitely be open to the community, and we look forward to just sharing out the great work that we're doing. We had Classified Appreciation Day the day after commencement, so we were very busy. It was great to see all the classified professionals on campus. I thought I could join them in the game of softball, and my elbow is still hurting from the event. So lesson learned to not necessarily re-engage so quickly. But really excited about the academic year, the accomplishments, the campus event in person. Just want to commend our faculty, staff, classified professionals, everyone involved who really reopened the campus, invited the community back, so they got a chance to re-envision or reintroduced to San Bernardino Valley College, and the campus looks beautiful, and I believe everyone who was there got a fresh set of eyes on the work that we're doing, so we're really excited about that. So just wanted to acknowledge the work of this year, and that is my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Crafton Hills President.
Good evening, trustees. I also want to just give a brief report on some of the goals for the board. Goal 1 around eliminating barriers to student success. It relates to commencement, and I've said it before in a strategy session, but it's not often we get to tout an outcome like we saw at this year's commencement. At Crafton Hills, we saw a 34% increase in the number of graduates from our highest previous graduating class, which was in 2020. So the staff, the faculty, the management team at Crafton is doing tremendous work to increase the success outcomes of our institution. For goal number 2, being a diverse, equitable, inclusive, and anti-racist institution, I'm glad Cassandra brought up the Classified Connections Week. On next Thursday, you are all invited to attend. The management is sponsoring a luau for all of our classified staff. There will be lots of games and food and festivities from 12 to 2 p.m. on Thursday the 16th if you'd like to attend. On goal number 3, around being a leader in addressing regional issues, I'm very pleased to report that we have 4 personnel, 2 faculty, Alex Beachko from Anatomy and Physiology, Krista Ivy from one of our librarians, Michelle Riggs, our Director of Institutional Advancement, and Carrie Audet, also from our Advancement Office, are participating in the Rochford Leadership Development Program sponsored at the University of Redlands, and a very generous invitation to include us in that program from the University of Redlands School of Education. I'm very excited for them. But the big announcement I have for tonight around Goal 4, ensuring fiscal accountability and sustainability. I'm very pleased to report that Crafton Hills College is the recipient of a $1.8 million grant from San Manuel Band of Mission Indians to it's a big deal to support our fire academy. Each cadet that goes through our fire academy has, due to increased state regulations, has a range of between $3,000 and $4,000 of out-of-pocket direct expenses. And San Manuel's generosity will help fund those expenses for 5 years, as well as help create an endowment to create an ongoing fund for that program. And we are just incredibly thrilled at their generosity and their insight in supporting this program. And the advancement team with Michelle and Carrie have done an amazing job shepherding that application process, which took 18 months to work through. There will be a formal announcement in August, but the contracts have been signed and the funds will be received later. So that's my report.
Thank you. Thank you. And congratulations to the team. Thank you. Executive Vice Chancellor. I'm sorry.
Congratulations. When you say formal announcement, are you talking press release, or are you talking event, or what are you?
It's very outlined, actually. It will begin with a press release, and then we will work in an event where we can recognize them in person as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Executive Vice Chancellor.
I don't have a report. However, I do have an ask of you. We are currently recruiting for an executive director for KVCR. So if you know of any great leaders in the community, we are looking to steal someone that it's already a leader in a nonprofit or somewhere. So if you know someone, please refer them to our website. It closes next week on Friday. It is part of us completing our KVCR board-approved report plan. We are very excited also to hear about the events that are happening at KVCR. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to open and bring KVCR to the community and to the district and the students as well. So this is just the beginning of that, and getting the executive director will be a huge step moving forward as well. So that's it. Thank you.
Jose, I know somebody posted on the Facebook, and I know I shared it, and the rest of you, if can share it if on your Facebook page. I did get several other people who then shared it from that. So, and Twitter and some of the other.
If I could slide in on Executive Chancellor Torres' report, I failed to, in my report, acknowledge KVCR participated in our commencement ceremony. I just want to thank Tony Papa. He's in the room back here. They did an amazing job coordinating the audio and video and live streaming and our new big screen there. So thank you, Tony, and your team. You guys were fantastic.
I was watching it from home because I was self-quarantining, and it was magnificent. So yeah, kudos, Tony. You and your team, amazing job.
Thank you. What? Yes.
Just one more thing, since we're talking about graduations. I was so excited to see that we had the orchestra there from Valley College performing for a very long time as 10 million people walked across the stage. But they did such a great job. So kudos to Maggie Worsley and all of the members of the orchestra who really were good. I've gone to a lot of graduations, and this was just as good as anything that I've heard elsewhere. And just, big kudos to that. It's really great to be able to tell people that our colleges have an orchestra. So yay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other comments? Okay.
Madam Chair.
Vice Chancellor, Human Resources and Police Services. Oh,
Trustee Longville had
did, Trustee Longville, did you have a
I
comment?
can hold off until after the next report.
Okay.
I just have a couple of updates. In regards to goal number 3, being regional leaders, I just want to commend Chief Jackson and team for participating. They will be participating in the Safety Summit that's being held by Riverside Urban Area Security Institute. And we will also be represented at the San Bernardino Violence Intervention Program community meeting by Sergeant Kenneth Owens. And I just appreciate that we were able to be invited and be part of looking for solutions for our community. And then also in accordance with our SBCCD values and collaboration, and to piggyback Cassandra and President Haran, the district office has been meeting with our classified professionals, and we are looking to form a classified group specific to the district office, so that way we can continue with our professional development activities specific to district office classified. And we were given support by the Chancellor and the Presidents to host another classified retreat where all classified will be released to participate and be given DEIA training, professional development, training on how to continue being a good leader in our district. And so I just appreciate the support from our Chancellor and our Presidents with our classified professionals. That commences my report.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you. You have in your agenda a great deal of information items, so is there any information item that you would like to bring up for discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just wanted to note in regard to the reports that we just received that I frequently enjoy bringing up at our meetings, as well as on other occasions where I see an opportunity, the status that our 2 colleges hold as being in the top ranked accreditation category in the state, that our 2 colleges represent half of the colleges in the state of California that meet that extraordinary top rank level. And as I watched our reports this evening, it becomes clearer and clearer why that's the case as I look at some of the extraordinary work that our staff is doing in so many ways. And it's truly outstanding, and to even see it extending not just to our own employees, but the people that work with us. And watching Cassandra Thomas's presentation, I'm sad that we're going to have to deal with some grievances, and that'll be for a future meeting. But I was very, very pleased with the way her comments reflected both our staff's performance and her own, by her own, I mean Cassandra's own very effective communication skills in making sure that her members understand what, that compromise is always necessary. And the one thing probably of all these reports that made me most excited and most pleased was I am so happy that $4,000 for the per classified employee, regardless of what their pay level, because that is addressing the people who really need it most. And I'm so proud that our institution made that choice. And so I want to thank everyone who is involved in making it, and tell you how much I appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Trustee Hesse-Harris.
Chair.
Is there any other Trustee Williams.
Yeah, I just wanted to find out from the, well, when will we receive the agenda for the board retreat?
This is a chancellor's.
It's next, the retreat is next week. It's on here for,
The retreat is scheduled for the end of the month on the 27th and
yeah,
28th.
so we got a couple
Yep.
of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's on here. Well, yeah, when we get a chance to see what,
We're still finalizing the agenda retreat, but it will be presented to the board exec team as well, and then sent to the entire board as we do the agendas for the board meetings.
okay.
Was there anything in particular that any of the trustees wanted to see on that agenda? I know that I asked, one of the items was communication, how we communicate with each other and different departments, with the chancellor. So if there's any item that needs to be put on that retreat agenda, we need to convey it to the chancellor.
I mean, I think we need to review what we did at the last retreat. And
Okay.
yeah, I mean, because it's 2 days, y'all. That's a long time to not know. And so, like, I would like to be able to see if it's going to be a good use of my time. So I'd like to see it sooner than later. Because I'm technically on vacation those 2 days. And if I'm going to take time away from my family, I want to make sure that it's going to be a good use.
Okay. Any other suggestions or things for related to the retreat? Okay. Then I would like to make an announcement. We're going to go into closed session, and we have the following items that we will be addressing. A, conference with labor negotiators, Government Code 549576, agency representatives Diana Z. Rodriguez and Christina Hannon, CSEA, CTA, and POA, management supervisors, and confidential employees. B, public employees discipline, dismissal, release, or non-employment, Government Code 54957, one case. Conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, Government Code 54956.9, D2, one case. Conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code 54956.9, E3, or D1, one case. Public employee performance evaluation, Government Code Section 54957B1, titled Chancellor. Conference with real property negotiator, Government Code Section 54956.8, properties, accessor parcel numbers 0160 -183-38 through 160 -183-44, 0160 -254-11, 0160-254-12, 160-254-26, 0141-031-43, 0141-131-22, negotiating parties, San Bernardino Community College District, proposed buyer, real estate negotiators, Jose F. Torres, Executive Vice Chancellor, Diana Z. Rodriguez, Chancellor, under negotiation, instruction to propose buyers, real property, negotiators will concern price and terms of payment associated with the possible purchase of the identified properties. So at this time, I close the open session, and we will be going into closed session. Oh, 5-minute break. Thank you. We don't, 1, 2, 3, well, there's 4, there's a quorum. Okay. At this time, I would like to reconvene the business meeting of the Board of Trustees for the San Bernardino Community College District. We have one readout from our closed session, so if our clerk would read it out.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In closed session, the board, by majority vote with Trustee Williams abstaining, took action to delegate authority to the district's chancellor or to her designee to execute and deliver any and all documents and otherwise do any and all things which she and legal counsel deem necessary or advisable to begin negotiations on and demonstrate interest in potential acquisition of certain properties by the SBCCD. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, and if there aren't any objections, this meeting is adjourned. And we will meet again at our retreat on the 26th and 27th. Yes.
We're here.
Meeting is adjourned.